what's Missin Curfew? It's when you kind of play guilty, but you show up.
How nice is a green light on the road, though? No practice tomorrow, no plane, just go.
Scotty Upshaw in the clear, and he scores! Right in front, scores!
A few laughs, a little bit of fun, and obviously a lot of hockey talk.
You're listening to Missin Curfew.
Fellas, coming to you from Hall Pass Media, Newport Beach, this is Missin Curfew. In the booth, we got Kyle, Morgan, and Max Pickup. Princey sitting this one out from Cowtown. Must have had something to do with the kids. But we got our boy, Jay Swish. Hey, look at the gun show he's got going. Hey, I can only imagine that's a fucking big country Vancouver Grizzlies tarp. Oh, big country.
Yeah, Wesley Pipes, one might say. But I'm actually wearing we have, the real Rocket Tocchet coming on later. So I wanted to preview. I got this Vancouver Grizzlies jersey on, but it's another guy, Obes, that doesn't miss an arm day, especially these days.
Oh.
I don't know if you've seen pictures of him. Mike Bibby, holy fuck. He's doing 50 sets of bench every day, I think. But, yeah, Princey, is it a healthy scratch, Obes, or is it just a game-time decision? He tweaked something? What's going on here? Yeah, like symptoms?
Yeah.
What are we ruling it in the press box?
Yeah, he didn't even take warm-up. So,
he didn't even
take warm-up. He let the coaches know before the game, listen, that the right groin's a little tight. She won't loosen up. I can't get her to just kind of pop. You can just get her to kind of, all right, there we go. Tape it up. I can get out there. So he let the management coaching staff know that, hey, listen, I just can't go tonight. 82 games. I just can't go. Opportunity for someone to step up. A little more ice time here. I just think because it's late in the day, because obviously that beauty Rick Tocchet has bigger things to do than worry about missing curfew, but he had to get through a day in the National League of Training Camp. So Princey's got 3 kids. So I think it's just full dad duty, fella.
Oh, man, that was always the worst as a seventh to spend Obes and get that call late in the afternoon. I remember when Jay Boeser was coming back from his hip surgery, and, the morning of, he told me, and he told the media, and he told the coaching staff he was going to play. So it was going to be his first game coming back from his hip surgery. I think it was some sort of, what is it, a labrum issue. So
little labrum.
Bo was coming back from, I think, double labrum surgery, and it was like mid-October. So he cleared himself. He said he's ready to play. I get the call as a seventh defenseman, Jay Swish, sitting on the couch. Hey, or you're going to have to come down to the game.
No.
It's already 6 o'clock.
No.
So I get there just in time for warm-ups. I'm like shit my pants. It's probably only like my 30th game in the league. And I get into that game, and first shift against the Ducks, I have Getsy breathing down my back, and I actually airmail one over the fucking ass because I tried to make a little chip play. 2 minutes right away, right box, just ruined my day. I was like, oh, God.
Dude,
I just felt awful.
I've been there. That's such a bad feeling. It was in Vancouver, so it was a Sunday. We were playing a Sunday afternoon game, so got my skate in, went to Roger Takahashi, said, Raj, can I get my workout in so I could just come here, I can just go home and watch Sunday football, and I could come to the game and just go up to the depressor and just I just want to have my Sunday of just, I want to be done when I leave this rink, all right? I'm not playing. So Roger Takahashi was a great guy. He said, yeah, did my skate, got my workout in, went home, had a nice lunch, went back, watching football, just getting ready for either the second games, probably just the start of the second NFL games, and I got a call from Mike Bernstein. Bernie, Obes. I said, what's up, Bernie? He said, you're playing. I said, very, very funny. No, you're playing. Grabner just rolled his ankle playing soccer. I said, fuck you. He said, no, you're playing, but don't worry, you're only playing forward. So I'm like, all right. So I get in the car, throw my suit on, I fucking drive to GM place, and I get there thinking, he's going to dress me as a forward. I'm not even going to get a shift, right? I'm just going to sit there, and that's going to be it. Come in the room, the boys are like fucking laughing at me or whatever, and I look at the thing, and it's Biekson O'Brien, and he slid Rome up. Rome was supposed to be playing D. A&B slid Rome up to play forward, and now I'm playing D. So now I'm like back into playing like a fucking legit every shift with Juice. And I remember getting ready for the game, trying to hurry and getting to warm up, and I'm out there. I'm like, I'm flustered, right? Jay Swiss, flustered.
It's the worst. And honestly, Obi, those days, like, I'm not saying you disrespect the game at all, but there are some of those matinee games where you might be frustrated or whatever and have a couple beers at lunch. Like, thank God, at least in my situation, I didn't have a couple that day, just like saying, fuck me, it's my 15th scratch. Oh, Jesus.
Listen, I'm going to plead the fifth on that comment there. I'm going to choose not to answer that question at all from you, but that is a serious concern. So I'm out there, fucking game starts, and you remember big David Kochi?
Yeah.
His head, head on him like a milk pail. He does the old soft chip into my corner. I go back, try to open up to go get it, and he fucking hits me like clean and hard. And whatever he did, Jay Swish, he snapped me out of it right then and there. I was back, played the rest of the game. We beat them. That's when Colorado was terrible. But, man, when I started this game, I'm like, how am I going to play? Like, I was just not into it. My mind wasn't into it. I'm like, this is the fucking National Hockey League. So doing that to guys, if it's an injury, anyways, it just sucks, doesn't it? When you think you got the night off and you got to hustle down to the rink and play, it's mentally and physically draining.
Yeah, I just think in some of those instances, like, just tell the guy to come warm up. At least, at very worst, you're into the game then. I mean, it sucks taking warm-ups, but as a younger player, any day in the National Hockey League, even as an older player, any day in the National Hockey League is a good day. It just sucks when you're sitting on the couch. You're like, holy fuck, I'm out of it right now. I got to dust off my suit. I got to throw a little half Windsor on this tie, get down to the arena. And I don't know how this is going to go because my head and physically and mentally, I'm just not very into it right now. So, yeah, those are tough days, I would say. Yeah, I mean, being a seventh offenseman or a guy kind of just eating out of the lineup, you know what? I guess that kind of comes with the territory. So
yeah, listen, and this Amazon Prime thing that's coming out, I can't wait for it. We've obviously seen, McDavid lose his mind in the finals, which I thought was great. But I hope they show not just you need the superstars, but I hope they show what the seventh defenseman's, eighth D-man, and the fifth liners go through on a daily basis, because it's a lot easier to play the game than it is not to play. Because when you got to work out, you got to skate, you got to hang out all day, you got to go to the game, you got to sit on the bus, wait for the guys to get out of there, then you jump on the plane, and then do the same thing the next day. Like, the National Hockey League is the greatest league in the world, but those days do get longer, don't they, Jay Swiss? They grind on you.
Oh, man, especially, like I said, if it's like the 10th or 11th or 12th or 13th, 14th game in a row, you're doing those bank skates, and you got a guy like Steve Odd, who is a great dude, but he's not going to go easy on you, too, as a seventh. He's putting you through the ringer in terms of a workout. Then you get on the bike, and then you do something in the gym, and you just, I mean, it's to say because it's the best job in the world, but you hit a breaking point a little bit, and you're just so pissed off, and like, I just want to just sucker a wall, sucker somebody, just let me fucking play,
Yeah, and then for me, this is probably not the right way to handle it. I just took it out on the boys in practice, Like, there was, when I wasn't playing, you could probably ask some of my former teammates. They didn't want to go on a little, 3-on-2 down low with me because I was playing it like it was a game. I had to get out. I had to get some kind of frustration. Like, I wasn't trying to, bury Ryan Kessler from behind into the boards or Burrows or anything like that. I would never touch the Sedins, but I practiced a lot harder because I wasn't playing. I'm like, I got to get my frustration out. I got to stay sharp for when I do get back in the lineup, that I can't lose that edge that I play with, because you can bag skate, run the hills, get on the bike, but there's nothing like competing down low. You know that as a D-man. It doesn't matter what you do.
No. And especially net front play, clearing the net, especially a big body like you being a barrel in front of the net. Like, if you don't have that just combat in your, day-to-day, well, you got to take it out somewhere. And sorry, fella, it might be the fourth line guy. He's cross-checks. And if I catch you in the rib, well, it is what it is. Your laundry, let's go. I don't think a lot of guys would be answering to you.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, that's exactly it. And when you go back to not letting guys know if they're playing or not, and shout out to John Cooper, I love Coop, and I knew the answer to this question before I asked him. I said, you would never, make a seventh defenseman go home and not. No, he's like, no, fuck. If you're not playing, I tell you, Coop's such a good guy. He probably tells you the night before. But like, I remember in Nashville, and I was lucky enough to be a top six playing every night, and we really didn't change up our rotation a lot on the back end, but it was more guys up front, like. They wouldn't know, right? And I remember once I got comfortable, I go to the leadership group. I'm like, boys, this is not right. Like, Leggy and Webbs and Sutsy, like, these guys should know before they leave the barn if they're playing a National League hockey game or not, because a lot of them are French players. That's why they're not in the lineup. So they're already nervous as all fuck. And, like, I just don't think it's helping them prepare. And ultimately, Swish, I told the boys, it's not helping us either, because when they get in there, we need them to feel comfortable and play, whatever it is, 8 minutes for us, and be the best 8 minutes they can be. So I never liked not letting the boys know. And then for me personally, I wanted to know the night before to see, because I have a couple extra. I'm not going to lie. Like, if I wasn't playing, I'm going to go out and have a time. Try to get one done. Yeah,
you're gonna half tie one on, and hopefully you can take something back to the stabbing cabinet and maybe get lucky. But I'm with you, Opes. We know if I'm playing, because as a younger guy, I want to prepare, and I'm not going to be going out if I'm trying to prove myself in this league. So it's just let the fellas know.
No secrets. Secrets kill teams. Tell the boys you're not playing, because either way, as a player, maybe I shouldn't speak for a player, but as for me, I knew if I was kind of in or not, right? I knew going in. So like, either way, if I thought I wasn't playing, I was going. So if there was a chance to be playing, you should have let me know, like, either way, because either way, if you don't let me know, I'm still going. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going because I don't think I'm playing.
Right. If you don't let me know that light is either flashing yellow or red, I'm running it.
I will run
straight green.
I will run it. I will run it unless it's Carolina, Columbus, or something like that, I will run that fucking flashing yellow or red if it is Dallas, Chicago, anywhere in Canada, LA, Newport Beach, anywhere else. I'm running it.
4 on the floor in Chicago. Oh, one of the best cities in the league.
The old
That's where
town.
my sister lives. Oh my God, the old city. Every time I go, I'm like, fuck me to play here.
The old tavern on Rush. Oh,
they're bringing it back too. Oops, they're bringing it back across the street.
They are, eh?
Yep, they close it down, and I think they're having a soft opening. Maybe my sources said as early as this weekend. So it's right across the street in the Thompson Hotel where a lot of the National Hockey League's teams stay or have stayed. So, yeah, they're bringing it back. Tab on Rush. Holy fuck. There's a couple working women down there in the old bar there. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
They're not exactly full. They're a little bit hungry.
We used to call it the Viagra swear, the Viagra Triangle. You had
Viagra Triangle.
You had Gibson's, Tavern on Rush, and then the Sutton Place Hotel right there. The old Viagra Triangle, boys. You didn't have to leave. Hey, go have a nice steak at Gibson's, mosey on over to Tavern and catch a buzz, and then just mosey on home right to Sutton Place Hotel.
Yeah, and now they got the Maple and Ash that's been there for probably 9 odd years. And then if you strike out real late night, there's Dublin's, good Irish bar. It's up until 5 in the morning. It closes from 5 to 6, and then they reopen Kegs and Eggs right in the morning. So if you strike out, Dublin's is always there for you folks. Good Irish bar, good Irishmen run it.
Kegs and Eggs, that's hilarious, bro. I didn't know that. Thank God I didn't know that, actually. I'm glad I didn't know that when I played there. But Chicago, one of the best cities ever. Real quick, Jay Swish here in our intro. I just want to give some love to Brett Favre, a guy that I absolutely loved watching play football. I'll never forget when he got hit in Minnesota. They couldn't play in the old Metrodome because there was so much snow that the roof caved in, and they went and played where the Golden Gophers played. And Brett Favre wasn't brand new at this point. He was a veteran of whatever you want to call it, 15 years, or he was at the end. And the frozen tundra of the Golden Gopher Stadium, and they just this big defensive end just drilled Favre right into the hard turf and like knocked him out. And I was like, wow, this guy's such a warrior. I think he may have even tried to come back, but he has Parkinson's disease, which is a terrible, terrible disease. So first of all, Jason, I just want to say I love Brett Favre. I wish him nothing but the best. And you want to talk about an old pro warrior? That guy played the game the right way. So to him and his family, wish him all the best. It's a terrible disease, my man.
The definition of an old school Southern gunslinger, Opes. Yeah, straight out of Lambeau Field, title town. I mean, that's my team, obviously being a cheap set from Madison. I played junior hockey in Green Bay, so they're near and dear to my heart. Brett Favre, that was my guy growing up, and then it obviously transitioned to Aaron Rodgers. But we did a tour one year of Lambeau Field, Opes. The equipment manager for the Green Bay Packers always tell a story that Favre, after games, he would maybe take a couple daddies, and he would kind of grease up the shower area. So he would make it like a slip and slide. So after every win, Favre would get the slip and slide going from the cold tub to the showers and kind of slide in. And I think all the boys would join him. So that was like one of the traditions that the equipment guy for the Green Bay Packers would always tell us when we do our tours there with the gamblers. So yeah, just an old school country boy. I know he's gone through some stuff with financial and whatever, but man, it sucks hearing that news because that was the guy, number 4 growing up watching when that was my guy, Brett Favre for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, and when he went to play for the Jets, he wasn't scared to throw it around the city there. I'm not talking about the football either. He was throwing other things around that city, but I'm with
couple wrench picks.
Yeah, exactly. But and like you said, listen, there's been some stuff that happened to him after his career, which is unfortunate. But I'm talking about Brett Favre, the football player, the gunslinger. What'd you call him? That's the best way to describe him. What'd you call him?
Yeah, just an old school, Southern boy gunslinger.
That's exactly what he was. Like
all he was.
You're like, oh, don't throw that, Brett, and he just fucking come across the body and just laid a seed in there. Boom, right on the tape to who was their big receiver back then?
Donald Driver.
Yeah, thank you.
Double D.
I knew you would know that. So listen, we wish him the best. It's a terrible disease, and we both love him, so I wanted to touch on that. And real quick, Jay Swiss, before we end the intro here, shout out to the Northeast Generals. And actually, shout out to my boy Peter Gurgis who sent it to me. What's the song called, fellow? We were talking about it before we started here.
It's ABBA. It's "Give Me a Man After Midnight."
Yeah, what a fucking tune! It's been a banger for the last year. I mean, everywhere in Europe when I was over there and it got a little late night, I heard it. Jay Swish, you got a funny story about it when you were playing in Finland, right?
Yeah. So as you know, Obes, a lot of the bars in Finland, and especially in Helsinki, where I played, and you spent a good amount of time kind of shuffling back from Hallina. They have all these karaoke bars, and the song that would come on, people would be singing karaoke, but the song that would come on at midnight or 12:01 every time over the loudspeakers was that song by ABBA, "Give Me a Man After Midnight." And you look around, and all of a sudden, just the level of fornication would go through the roof. I mean, we're talking games of console hockey like you've never seen. Guys making out with maybe not even their own girlfriend, but they're kind of allowing it. Who knows what was going on? There was so much kissing going on every time at that bar. It was just a full-on makeout fest right after midnight at every bar in Finland, and especially in Helsinki. They put that on. Give me a man after midnight, and the people would just go crazy. Shots of vodka, making out, and everything in between. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, dude, listen, we've definitely partied at the same places in Helsinki because I was in there every fucking Saturday and Sunday night. So, and that's, like you said, a sneaky good city.
Yeah, there was a couple spots. Shout out to Jackie. That was my favorite spot. Oh. I was an RFA at the time, but I was looking around. I was like, oh, my trim. Talk about a blonde after a game. I'll take that.
My boy Billy Quinn's actually heading over there. They're playing a game in Tempra.
Oh, yeah.
Florida versus Dallas here in, I believe it's right at the start of November. So I said, listen, Helsinki's great. I never went out in Tempra. Did you?
Yes, it's decent.
College,
it's not Helsinki, but they have a National League barn there now that they just built, and it is unbelievable. I mean, I would say it's NHL quality. Seats about 17,000. All those teams, Ilves and Tempra, they both play there because they're in the same town. But a hell of a barn, and that's gonna be cool for him. He'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and listen, back to the Northeast Generals here. Shout out to my boy James Beal, who's a good Staten Island guy from New York City that I've got to know over the years through my cousin Paul O'Daker. OD, you beauty, I know you're listening. Man, the video of them dancing before the game, people always ask me, Jay Swish, do you miss the game? And I say, not really. I don't miss, what it took to play. Do I miss a big W on a Saturday night with a Sunday off? More than anything. Do I miss the paychecks? God, do I miss the paychecks. But another thing I miss, dude, I miss before the game with the boys. I miss getting ready. You go out there, you go no bucket for warm-up, and then you're getting ready to go out for the game. And these guys dance into that tune before the game. And my boy James Beal knew him. Ricardo, I think is how you say this beauty's name. I'm going to send him some swag. We're going to get him to jump on the podcast. But Jay Swish, man, it made my heart feel good. And I think you said it best. Love the game and it'll love you back, right, fella?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think that those are the times that you said, Obes, you maybe don't miss in a hit to make a play. Maybe don't miss fighting or whatever you had to do, blocking shots that hurt. But pre-game vibes with the fellas in the tunnel, some of the best things, some of the best memories of all time. You come in there and just, hey, fella, how you doing, fella? Yeah. A little slap, you got a handshake, giving your goalie a little touch. This guy, a little cup check, something else over here. Fella, let's go. That was always how you got juiced up to play, man. Like that chatter, like you don't find that or can replicate it anywhere else besides hockey dudes in a tunnel coming out for war, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, well said. I that's the stuff I miss. And those boys, I believe they're in Minnesota this weekend at a big tournament. I was texting with the kids. So good luck, boys. Keep the mojo going. And that was unbelievable. So we'll be right back. I'm Missin Curfew. Welcome back to Missin Curfew. DraftKings, baby. Presented by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Ta-la. NFL, last week I went 3 for 3, but I got just bent over on the juice. But I'm still just treading carefully because, listen, the game of the week is Ravens-Bills on the Sunday nighter. I'm not going to touch that one, but that is game of the week. But for me, listen, I know the Niners are banged up. The Patriots have pretty good D. The Pats got to fly all the way across to the old Silicon Valley. -10, I don't think that's enough. I'm going to take the 49ers -10, and then I'm going to take Patty Mahomes and the Chiefs. I don't know if Herbert's going to play or not. Bosa's out. Coming into to Los Angeles at SoFi, -7 is not enough. So, dude, I'm going Niners, Chiefs, but the game of the week is Bills-Ravens, Sunday nighter. Not even Chris Collinsworth can ruin that game for me, buddy. I'm going to fucking enjoy every second of that bad boy.
Yeah, that game's going to be hell, and that game is going to be great. And I just love listening to Chris Collinsworth talk. He's like, now here's a guy. And he always just says that, now here's a guy. But it's going to be a hell of a game. Obes, I am going with the Bengals at Carolina. That is -4 to hook. Cincy, I mean, there's no way Joey Burrow can start all 0-4, can he? I might even go money line on that game. I'm not sure. I might have to call my guy at JP Morgan and take out just, some say, hey, fella, can you shuffle investments over to here to fast cash? Because there is no way if you throw the farm on Joey Burrow on Sunday, they're going to go 0-4, are they? I mean, come on. They got to win that game against Andy Dalton. -4.5, I don't know, but it's just like there's no way the Bengals can start 0-4, can they?
Yeah, you're right. I got to bet them because I bet them last week. So thanks for opening my eyes. I got to bet them again because this is what it is with gambling. The percentages say they cannot lose fucking 4 in a row, right? Heading into Carolina. So that a boy Jay Swish, way to get that back on my radar. I'm still having nightmares of Jaden Daniels just throwing dimes everywhere. Just fucking Dilford's dimes everywhere. I'm like, I was just shell-shocked after that game. But you're right. History would say they're not going to lose 4 straight, and Joey Burrow's going to find a way. It's that Bengals defense and that Bengals secondary to me that's just like Swiss cheese, man. Tighten it up, boys, because Joey B will make it rain.
Yeah, I mean, Burrow, he played well last week, right? And so did Jamar Chase, but it's like just the stats say there's no way they can lose that game. And we're going to be maybe sitting here on Monday or Tuesday or whatever it is and be like, holy fuck, did they actually lose that? But I don't think they are. I think that's a lock. I'm going to say not of the century, but I think that's the lock of the week for me, at least over here.
I love that. And then we come in Tuesday, Corey go, Jay Smith, do you believe they lost that game? You leave Dalton threw 3 TDs and threw for 350 yards and rushed one in? Fuck, what happened, bud?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's 100%.
I love it, Jay Swish. I'm on that with you. DraftKings, baby. Get some skin in the game. Milk carton time here at Missin Curfew. Listen, Craig Berube, I love you. Chief, you're a fucking beauty. I've already loved what your fingerprints have done to the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've been in 3 preseason fights. They're playing harder. They're going to be a good team. I think I'm going to throw a little futures bet on them, actually, at DraftKings, baby. However, I don't know if this reporter was from Ottawa or Toronto, but what I'm just saying is welcome to Canada. Welcome to Ontario. Somebody asked him, are you pushing the panic button after losing 2 preseason games? That, my friend, is milk carton material. To that reporter, you're on the milk carton. Give your head a shake. And this is the National League. Let's do some prep work, AJ Swiss, before you talk to Chief. This guy's time is precious. That was an awful question. That is milk carton city, fella.
I mean, we got guys that are on AHL contracts. We got guys that might be playing in the coast in some of these lineups. These are glorified split squad games. I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, is this your practice on the job? Practice? Are we talking about practice? Not the game. I give it my awful. We over here talking about practice, man. Like, what are we talking about? Was that just strictly for clicks? I mean, come on, you can't be that dumb.
Listen, hey, if the reporter wanted to do it for clickbait, listen, I get it. We're in the content business, Jay Swiss. Maybe it was a clickbait and mission accomplished. But from a couple old hockey players like me and you, well, you're not that old, but ex-hockey players, that's a tough question in Game 2 of preseason when, nobody's playing. Like, the boys are just getting loose. AM34 is just worried about how he keeps his tan going from Phoenix from Scottsdale to Toronto. Let's calm down, everyone. Hey, calm down.
I mean, come on. We got a guy that's going to be playing for the third line on the Marlies out there, and that's no disrespect.
No disrespect.
Just saying, what are we talking about here? What are we talking?
Hey, we can say that because me and you rode the buses in the jungle. We rode the buses, fella.
100%.
Yeah. What do you got for milk carton, fella?
Yeah, I had a milk carton. I like to listen to Elliot Freeman. He's great. I think he's great for the game, and him and I miss Jeff Merrick with him. He's obviously got a new co-host for that show, but I like to listen to Freach every week just to get the ins and outs, the inner linings of what he's hearing, what's kind of going on. His chin is always to a phone line. He has a pretty good gauge for the league in a sense. But the one thing I did not agree with Elliot is he was comparing what Shohei Ohtani has done in MLB, in the Major League Baseball circuit, with 50 home runs, 50 stolen bags. And he was comparing it, folks, to 100 goals and 100 assists, the equivalent to what it would be in the NHL. Like, me, that's just way off. Measure is just, what was Gretzky's record for
92?
92, I believe. Like, so that would mean you would have to have the most home runs and then the most stolen bases, which, what's the pre-steroid era? What's the most home runs besides Bonds at 73? Is it 60? 60-something? 62?
Yeah, Bonds hit. Bonds when he's all juiced up, I believe. Kyle or Max, pick up fact check this for I think it was 71 or 72.
Yeah, 71 or 72. So if you go off of a non-steroid era player, what's the highest for that? Is it like 60?
Aaron Judge had the record in the American League. He beat Maris. I believe he had whatever last year, 62, I think he hit.
Okay, so I would say, if Ohtani had 62 home runs and then stolen bags to go with that, 100%. That'd be the equivalent of having over 90 goals and maybe 90 assists. I just think that equivalent to what he was comparing it to, I just didn't think that really stacked up and it didn't fit.
Yeah, no,
I goals and assists. That's outrageous.
That's harder to do than 50-50 in the big leagues. And listen, Ohtani's doing it, but some of these stolen bases, they're not even contesting them. He's just taking them because they're like,
right.
When it is what it is. But 50 bombs is legit. But 100 snipes and 100 apples, that's like fucking, that is insanity. That's insane. I mean, the great one couldn't even do it. The great one had 92 and 100 and fucking whatever many apples that year. He had 200 and some points. But like, no, you're right. If a guy ever gets 100 and 100, that is fucking the most national. That is crazy to do. I mean, this is crazy to say. Is I think Matthews could score 100 goals though in a fucking season. I know that's crazy to say, and he's probably not going to do it. But I wouldn't be like sitting on this podcast with you and be like, "Oh, Matthews scored 100." I'd be like, "Wow, completely blown out of the way." It's never going to happen. But I can see Matthews getting 82 one year.
I can see 82. I can see
I can see a goal again.
That would be insane. And he's a guy that could do it because when he scores in bunches. It's like 3, 4, and then, you know, it maybe go a little cold for a game, and then 1, 2, 3. Like, that's a guy that goes on absolute heaters. Back to the point, I just thought that was crazy. Like, 100 goals is, I mean, come on, Salah.
Fella, hey.
Get with the time.
Listen, anytime you can keep Elliot Friedman on us and throw him on the milk cart, I'm all for it, fella. And I'm with you. I think Elliot Friedman is great for hockey. He's a hard worker, too. You know, me and you have talked a lot about, you know, our line of work and having to put your chin to the phone, as you would say. He works hard. But I remember he showed up to our All-Star party in Florida, and I had just enough Crown Royal in me, too, and he was getting ready to leave. I said, well, where are you heading there, bud? You going to tweet out a fake trade, or where are you going, bud? Why are you leaving so early, eh? Where are you going? It's the All-Star break. Put the phone down. Have a cocktail. Where are you going? He just kind of looked at me like, holy fuck, O's. But I'm like, don't be putting out fake truck and trades tonight over the All-Star break. The boys are trying to have a good time here.
Yeah, just put the Sportsnet line down, right? Just friends and family only right now. Take a break, fella. You're in South Florida. You go to the Palm Mile.
Yeah.
And she called the massage part.
Keep the boys honest. Elliot Friedman, good for the game, but you're on the milk cart thanks to Jay Swish. Jay Swish, get this guy a Labatt Blue, fella.
Presented by Labatt Blue Light, the pristine Pilsner. Enjoy your beers together so you can live life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer Labatt USA. Folks, that's coming from the chin of Chippewa Street, Buffalo, New York.
Oh, I love it, Swish. Hey, to the people of Buff, Swish loves you. I was on the phone with Swish this morning. We were talking logistics of the upcoming season, and we both want to get to Buff. So we'll talk to Jason and the boys at Labatt Blue Light and see if we can get that on the calendar. But speaking of things of getting them on the calendar, the Ottawa Senators are getting a new barn. Thank God. Listen to me. I love Ottawa. I love the city. Downtown Ottawa is a gem, especially on July 1st. Shout out to my boy, Brad Richardson. We used to go there, Jay Swish, every July 1st when we were young, trying to make the league, and then when we first got in the league, let's just say we were seeing the ball well there back in the day. You build a rink in the right place, this city will flourish. This is great. I'm so happy for Brady Tkachuk, Batherson, all the boys. My boy Greener's head coach there. Get the Ottawa Senators Labatt Blue for once. They need a new barn, and they're finally getting it, and this owner seems to know what's up, Jay Swish.
Yeah, Michael Anlauer seems like he's on page with not only the team making them relevant again, but also, you know, just putting himself, embodying himself into the community and as just the overall Ottawa region. And that starts with the new arena. That's how you get free agents to go there, Opes. That's how you get big-time players to want to stay there when you draft them, so they just don't want to get the hell out of town and hitchhike out of there. So I think it starts with the arena. I think it starts with being in a good place right now. That Canadian Tire Center, I mean, it's not perfect area.
I hate that barn. I hate that barn. I hate that barn.
No-fly zone.
Yeah, listen, honestly, for me, Ottawa was always a rest. It was a rest night. I'm coming in. It was always in between Toronto and Montreal, either way, whatever way you're coming, east to west, west to east. And I was like, Ottawa, room service, shut her down, play the game, get the fuck out of town. And with a new downtown barn, it'll be such a better experience for fans, players, media guys like me and you. It's about time, dude, right? It's about time.
Yeah, it's the entertainment business, Opes, and why not do it to the fullest? And that's how you get the most out of your team, not only on the ice, but your product off the ice and selling the game, and, you know, getting fans just around your team and some excitement there, and get back that juice of, you know, kind of the early 2000s, mid-2000s days with Alfred Sitt and some of those guys running around and Spez and the Heat Dog there. So,
it's the big earn.
It's cool.
The big earn. Ray Emery, God rest his soul. Razor, we miss you every day. I mean, listen, their team was fucking fun to watch. They were a handful. And listen, with Brady Tkachuk and my boy Greener in there, they got all marked between the pipes. This team's coming. They're coming along. I'm all in on the Senators. I love watching them. I love Brady. I love Bath. And listen, this is good for them. And the last one for me, forget this guy, Labatt Blue. There's been some stuff on the internet surfacing about Derek Sanderson. Shout out to Russ Cordell. Rusty, I love you. You're a fucking beauty. He sent me this. A quote from Derek Sanderson, who my uncle played with. They asked him, what was your pregame meal? He said, a steak and a blonde. So Sanderson, you fucking beauty, get yourself a blue light, because that's how you win hockey games. I don't care what era, what team you play for. Give me a steak and a blonde, and we're getting the 2 points, Jay Swish.
Give me a grape and an orange, none of that stinking root beer. Yeah, that's unbelievable. I mean, just talk about just a full-body release before the game, light legs, a pregame pump. And you're going out there, and you're probably a guy like Derek Sanderson who's probably going to have 2-1 that night. Hey, how are you? So I saw that quote. I had to repost it. I was fucking dying laughing. That old school beauty just era of hockey. I mean, That's where we should have been playing Opes.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
where we should have been, fella.
Hey, speaking of old school beauties, Reg Dunlop, when she moves into his house, he's like, hey, typically I take you out to the Aces, but I got to get some shutter. I'm going to get fucking mammed out there, murdered out there. Typically I take you to the Aces, but I got a bounty on a guy said, like, I'm going to get some shutter. I'm going to get fucking maimed out there. Jay Swiss, you're lucky, fella. You're lucky. You're right. That was an era that we knew would have flourished in. There was definitely no curfew back in the day. So Sanderson, and to the Sens fans, get a blue light in you. That's unbelievable. It's Tea Times, presented by Adidas Golf, made wherever you play. The President's Cup is on. I was watching it this morning. Listen, Montreal, good on you. The course looks good. 4,000 fans at the first tee. Love the black tarps with the little maple leaves on them. I took them for plus 250, the international squad. When I left my house to come here, all the matches were close. USA was up in 3 of 5 of them. The one was tied, and the other one was international. Listen, it's a tall task, Swish. I know you're a good American lad. I just want the Canadian beauties to get up there, get drunk, make some noise. That's why I wanted the whole team to be filled with Canadians, because I wanted it just to be about Canada. I think we got 3 guys on there. Mackenzie Hughes was already shotgunning a beer. I love it. I love this event, and I want the internationals to get it done, my man.
Yeah, how's it looking? How was the crowds? Like, were there people there? Oh,
Yeah.
Did it look good? Was it rocking? Like, what was the vibe? Would it have a little Ryder Cup, juice to it?
Yeah, it really did. I mean, it's not quite. It wasn't quite Ryder Cup juice, but it was pretty good. I mean, like I said, 4,000 people on the first tee. There were some Canadian flags flowing. Mike Weir came out, did a little speech. Jim Furyk did his thing. The great one was there. Gretzky was looking sharp in the black little quarter zip. Nick Suzuki was hanging out there. GSP was hanging out on the first tee. Old Jean Chrétien was hanging out there, a former prime minister. So listen, it had a Canadian feel to it. And Jay Swiss, that's why I wanted more Canadians on it. And I reached out to a golfer of mine, a buddy of mine, remain nameless, but he just said he couldn't pick those guys over. They weren't playing well enough. But I just believe in mojo and Canadian, and hopefully they can find a way to get it done. But the American team is a wagon, Jay Swiss.
Yeah, they are. And, they got a good captain there in Jimmy 5-Hour Furyk. He's a good captain, a good man. Obviously sponsored by 5-Hour Energy for a lot of his time on the Champions Tour as well in the PGA Tour is seen. But, Obes, I don't know. Like, you look at the American team, it's good, and it's a lot of good players, but there's just some names that you just miss. A guy like DJ, a guy like Brooks Koepka, some of these guys over at LIV that you don't see, and now they get replaced by, and this is no disrespect, but Russell Henley, like that's who we're rocking with. And a guy even that's been a major champion, Brian Harman, something about the little lefty I just don't like out of Georgia with that southern draw. So there's some names on that roster that I don't love, but you know what I do love is a guy like Keegan Bradley, the people's golfer. Yes. He's one of my favorites. He's one of those guys who can kind of will the team to a higher level emotionally. You miss guys like Thomas and Spieth maybe a little bit, but they weren't playing up to snub. So one guy I think that can get that American team going, unite them a little bit with chemistry-wise as being a glue guy is Keegan Bradley. So
yeah, well said. Listen, Keegan Bradley's part of the DraftKings family too. We love Keegs. I will be pulling for Keegan in the Ryder Cup in 2025 at Bethpage Black. That will be a scene beyond belief. So boys, enjoy it. Jay Swiss, I'm going to be watching it all weekend. My plus 250, I wouldn't mind that hitting either. That's nice. I like those odds. A little plus 250 for the fella.
That is nice odds. And I just want to give one quick shout out to my favorite looper on the scene, and that is Mike Fluff Cowan. I mean, what a duster. I think he's still working because he's going to pay off some of his divorces. I mean, that 76-year-old asshole up there, he's like Blue from old school. You're my boy, Blue. Oh, so he's kind of like that old guy in the mix with the younger folk. But Mike Fluff Cowan on the bag. He's actually on the cart with Jimmy 5-Hour Furyk, longtime friend, longtime caddy for him. So it's good to see Fluff is still activated and moving boots out there.
Jimmy 5-Hour Furyk. That's unreal. Remember how bad those 5-Hour energies looked on his hat?
Oh, my God.
Sure, it was just so bad. It was just so bad, but it was unbelievable. But Fluff, someone told me that the amount of caddying Fluff's done, he's walked around the world like 3 times, bro. The amount of looping he's done, the steps he got in, he could have walked around the world 3 times. That's how long this guy's been carrying a bag.
Well, I mean, he's got to, right? He's got to, he's got to pay off what he's got going on at home. Just you feel for the guy, It's stick taps to Fluff. That's all you can say. Keep chugging, fella. Maybe one more tour on the world for you.
Unfortunately, Drew Doughty. Man, I shout out to Steve Cooley. Cooley was down in the hockey basement and put it out first when I saw it on X. I was like, oh, that's not good. When he's looking down and that feeling as a player, right? When you look at a guy, you're like, this guy's in one. This is not good. Anyways, it's fractured. He's going to be out for long term. So listen, this is what sucks about preseason hockey. You got to get geared up. You got to play games. As veteran guys, you want to get into, I always like to play 3, 4 max, maybe preseason games, but you got to get some games in. But this is a tough blow for an already LA Kings team that I think is going to take a step back. And now you lose this beauty. It just sucks, my man.
It does suck. You saw Dewey go onto the boards awkwardly. Obviously, it looked like it was an ankle or a knee. It ends up being a fractured ankle. And the one thing on the positive note, obviously, we're going to miss him for, an extended period of time. But how crispy did he look in that matte black 4500? I mean, just juice. He just looked so good in that old school helmet. Dude,
those uniforms in general, man,
yeah.
Have you ever been to the Great Western Forum? Have you been to the Forum in Inglewood for anything, a concert or anything?
No.
Oh, dude, it's one of my favorite venues to see a show there. I saw Pearl Jam about 6 months ago, and dude, I'm just telling you, when you walk in this place, you can just think of Gretz and the boys back in the day, and walking into the Forum, it just has this feeling about it. And then you bring back those old school uniforms you're talking about. I love those unis. I love the matte black bucket, and that's one thing the Kings got going for them. I think going back to those unis, just a little sexier.
Yeah, they look really good. And that old school Forum, you'd always hear stories out of it. Did they have a nightclub in the Forum too?
Oh, yeah.
The guys would just pop out of the rink and go right there?
Oh, yeah. The Forum Club, baby. It's still rocking. Oh, listen.
Does it really?
Oh, yeah. You go into the Forum Club, walk right in. It's unbelievable. I saw Chelly out front of Pearl Jam. I was with Loops and a few of my boys. I'm like, look at the guy. I go, look at the tan on that guy. And Loops is like, I think that's fucking Chelly. I'm like, that is Chelly. He was waiting right outside the Forum room. We went in there, had a cocktail with him. The Forum room is just... It has that feel, dude. You just go in there and you realize that back in the day that Jerry Buss and the boys were just magic, and Gretzky and all the boys, it was just a time back in the day, I'm sure.
Yeah, even Toccs we're having on here, but Chelios, man, I mean, speaking of just that tan is not stock. I mean, you can't even find that on the market. Even if we're looking at a place like a Sunseekers for a golden bronze, that's just... Oh, tan Chelly, that's off market fella.
Yeah, I know. I remember when I was, probably my 3rd or 4th year in the league, and I'm playing in Detroit, and I line up with Chelly, and I just say, how do you keep that tan going in Detroit? What's your secret? That's not just even tanning bed. Is that tanning oil or what do you that is just? I think he said it's just baked in permanently, kid, or something like that. He said, I think it fucking is Chelly. That's just a 20. That's a 365, 12 months all year round tan he's rocking.
Yeah, that's, I mean, he's put his work into that tan, right? That ain't stock, like I said.
No. And then around the National League, best league in the world here, Thatcher, Demko, who we're going to have Toccs on here. And, I look back, and I'm sure Toccs was looking forward, but I'm looking back at, they took the Canucks, they took the Oilers to 7th, right?
Yep.
And Sheloff was in there. He kicked out of his mind, but he let some shots in from the point, some boost bombs, and some wristers that a bigger Thatcher Demko, to me, throughout that series might have had. If Demko's healthy, who knows what would have happened for them. They took the Oilers to 7, and the Oilers went to the Stanley Cup final. Florida was a wagon, but I'm just saying, this guy, he's going to have to deal with this. He says he's going to have to play through it, but man, if this guy can stay healthy, they need him to stay healthy is what I'm saying, Jay Swish.
Yeah, I mean, when he's at his prime and, peak flow state, seeing the puck out on top of the crease, just he's so calm in the net. So if you can get back to that level of just having that swagger back there, and you know how big it is, Old, when you're having a goalie back there for you, and he's so calm, and if you fuck up, he's going to be there to make that save for you. That's so huge. It gives defensemen so much confidence, because a lot of the time, if you got a guy that's a little bit shaky back there, you're kind of thinking, I got to maybe play a little bit differently, or I'm going to be less risky. If you have a guy that back there that can make that save all the time for you, and he's going to be there to back you up, it just gives a team so much more confidence. It's crazy to say, but it's true.
No, it's so true, man. When I played in front of Bobby Lou and the next year with Pekka Rinne, if it was a 50-50 puck down the wall, I'm going. And I was no speedster, but I'm going to know if it does get chipped by me, and it does maybe be an odd man rush, I got Bobby Lou and Pex back there that are going to probably bail me out 9 out of 10 times. And especially for offensive guys too, the Sedins or whoever, they knew they could play a little, looser up front because Bobby Lou is back there. And same in Nashville, we can try to take chances because we knew Pex. It makes a huge difference when you have a legit Vezina caliber goaltender back there kicking for you.
Yeah, 100%. And even for a defenseman, it's a skilled defenseman trying to make a play into the middle of the ice. If that gets turned over, your goalie's going to be there for you. Where another guy, he might be shitting bricks if that puck gets turned over and it's in the back of the net before the guy even shoots. So he's one of those guys that, is going to be a difference maker for Vancouver. Obviously, they bolstered up their defense, too. A lot of big, meaner defensemen, bringing in some guys that way with Desharnais, Forber. I mean, those guys, they're trees back there, Olds. I think they're a contender. They're not a pretender. They'll be right back there, and you never know if they can go over the hump with Edmonton. we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I've already put a little NHL future bet on DraftKings for them to win the Stanley Cup. I think they're going to be right there. And listen, I love the signing of Lehkonen from Kevin Lehkonen from the Preds, right? Listen, Sheloff was unbelievable last year, but he got thrown right into the shit, and I think he just was like, so young and so just whatever. He didn't realize exactly what he was in. Demko's still dealing with this. They bring in that guy who I think is a great 1B. So you got a kind of a three-headed monster there, and now you're not up against it, is what I'm saying, Jay Swish. Right now, Toccs isn't just sitting there being like, I only got Thatcher Demko. I got some options for him. So I thought Alvin did a hell of a job here bringing this guy in on a 1-year ticket. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
now you got a 2A, 2B if you need it, right, with Lehkonen, and as well as the young kid as well. And I mean, even just adding guys up front, too, like a Daniel Sprong for whatever, 800 or 900K only. That's a guy that could maybe even score 20 goals for you playing on the second power play. You saw his goal last night in the preseason where he did a little dipsy do through the neutral zone. I mean, he put Jared Tenorti on rollerblades and then made a little backhand forehand, how's your mother, and, beat the goalie. So that was pretty sexy. If you got that guy for 800K, that's one of the best investments in the league.
Hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, how's your mother doing, buddy? Oh, Jake. Hey, how's your mother?
Oh.
Boom, cheese. Yeah.
Beat him like a rented mule last night. I mean, it wasn't perfect.
Yeah, Jay Swish, I will guarantee you we will be up to Vancouver in the second half and into playoffs to check out a game there and just go enjoy the city where I know you'll enjoy yourself. You're a man of the people, and the people of Vancouver will love you. I guarantee it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm looking forward to getting up there. Yale Town. Obviously, you got a place like Banner Room, and then Peter, there's a spot there. So, yeah, chili chicken. I can't wait to have some chili chicken with you.
Oh, buddy, you won't have to wait long for that. The first day on the road, buddy, you won't have to wait long for that. Jay Swish, you the man. Speaking of the man, we got Rick Tocchet, the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, coming at you next. Welcome back to Missin Curfew. Jay Swish, this guy is an absolute legend on and off the ice. Listen to this, 1,144 games, 2,972 PIMs. Now, that's what I talk about, a guy you want to go to war with. Doing unbelievable jobs with my former squad, the Vancouver Canucks. Rick Tocchet, Toccs, thank you, brother. Good to see you, and I appreciate the time because I know you're busy right now, my man.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm a fan of the show, and I know Travis Green was on the other day, so yeah, I hope I can be better than Greeny. Yeah, was he average or how was he?
You know what, Greeny, it took a while to get him. And listen, I used to call Greeny the Bill Belichick of NHL coaches when he was in Vancouver. A lot of times he'd come out to the media, wouldn't say a whole lot. I'm like, Greeny, you got to give him something here, fella. And Toccs, you've done an unbelievable job with the media in Vancouver, and you did a great job on TNT. But it's tough to get Greeny going sometimes, Toccs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's actually, you get him in the right situation. Oh, pretty funny guy. He'll drop you too. Like, he gives it to me all the time. So, I have a great relationship. Actually, he's one of the guys when we pick our brains. Him, Craig Berube, Cooper. Yeah. Those type of guys I like talking to. Pick their brains.
Absolutely. And listen, he came out to Newport. It was about a week before they let Lindy go. So I said, hey, listen, since you've had a dinner, Missin Curfew dinner, you've been a head coach of the National Hockey League, Greener. So don't forget about the curfew bump, right? You got the intern right into the head coaching. That's a team dinner, I think, Toccs?
You should ask him if he has does he get a team credit card? That's the only way you're going to get a meal out of him if he gets it paid for.
Yeah,
he's not going to his platinum card. He's not wasting on us guys, boys.
No, you know what? He actually did pick it up, but that's because the reservation started off. It was that set at the Pendry out here in Newport, and he's like, hey, Obes, table for 6, eh? I said, no problem, Greener. Fuck, I'm on the golf course 10 minutes later. It's 8, 10, 12. I'm like, cool, Greener, fuck, how many people we got coming here? So, Toccs, he did pick it up for the boys.
I went and I rented a place in Newport for a week. I don't know if you were in town. Did I text you? I can't remember.
Dude, you texted me. I was just heading home, and I flew out. Was that right around the final? I was kind of right around the final. It just ended, right, Toccs?
Yeah, so I was there, and you have some mutual friends. Oh my God, I can't. Elise.
Yeah,
Elise.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, she was there with my granny. It was long. So I've never been to the Pendry. First time I'm there. I didn't know. And I remember we were a group of people, and somebody said, Shane O'Brien's here quite a bit. Yeah, blah. I was laughing.
Yeah, it's a good spot. You texted me up, a classy move, but we flew out for Game 7 of the final, and this older gentleman behind us for 5 hours to Miami coughed on my girlfriend, and I don't know what he gave her. Because when I got back from Miami, boys, I was down and out for fucking 10 days. Like, I couldn't even move. I don't know what it was. So I apologize I didn't see you, Toccs. But, hey, how was the summer, brother? And Jay Swish, you can jump in here. But how was your summer? Unbelievable year last year. I want to get into that. But how was your summer, buddy, after a good year in Vancouver and starting to settle in with your job up there?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Played a little golf, not as much as I wanted to. I didn't do the things I wanted to do. I'll be honest with you guys. I wanted to get to Europe. wanted to get to see my niece and hit Italy, but I did not. I think, but I had a pretty good summer. Next year for sure, I'm hitting Europe. You gotta plan it now, because if you don't do it, you wait. What happens? It's August. Then I had the Team Canada coaches meetings. I have our coaches meetings. Then you have a couple organizational things. Next thing you know, it's August 30th. So you got to plan that stuff now. Obviously, you plan the stuff in July and August, because you hope you go far in the playoffs and make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, listen, if you're heading to Europe next year after you win the Stanley Cup, I got a guy, the Flight King. He'll hook you up with cheap first-class tickets, lay down bed. So after you win the Cup in Vancouver, Toccs, and you're heading to Europe, well, they'll probably give you a private plane if you win the Cup. Actually, you won't need to worry about flying first class, eh?
The Flight Master, I like that.
Yeah,
give me his number.
The Flight King.
Yeah, he's got a guy for that. Toccs, I wanted to jump in and just say, you're obviously in training camp right now. You, the reigning Jack Adams Trophy Award winner, you had a hell of a season last year with the fellas. But you're going into this training camp and you're kind of, making your way out of summer. That's something that you set up, or is it come from ownership where you kind of get out of town, you go into Penticton, you play a preseason game? Did you guys start in Whistler, or was it in Penticton I saw?
Yeah, it was Penticton for about So we had the rookie camp there, and then we just stayed to transition to the big guys, the main camp. And, that was the first time I ever been to Penticton last year. I was there for just the rookie camp. Great little city. They took care of us. I think they're going to try to do it next year. I thought it went really well. We had 2 pads of ice, which is coach's dream. We didn't just have the single. It was well run. I had the guys in, around 8:39, and they're up by 12, like in the second room, but maybe by 1:30. And I thought that was really cool. When you only have 1 pad, I remember poor Patty O'Neill, our trainer last year.
Oh, Patty,
you're going, they're there from 7 to 5, right? So, I think training camp is about efficiency. It's not about killing people. It's about getting your work done efficiently, getting the information to the players, educate them what you're trying to do. Obviously, you want to make it fairly hard, but it's more about efficiency for me.
Yeah, I love that, Toccs. I love Patty O'Neill too. He always made sure there was just a couple beers in the fridge for me after a big Saturday night win back at GM Place. I said, Patty, you got a couple cold ones? I got a couple cold ones for you. But Toccs, when you go to Penticton, you get a feel too of how it's not just Vancouver, right? It's the whole province of British Columbia. You go there, the fans love you. It's a good feeling for the fellas, isn't it?
Yeah, I honestly, just as a visitor coming in here, we come in, you stay at the Pan Pacific or the Rim or whatever, you do your thing, right? And then you're usually out, maybe hit the Roxy when I used to play everyone. But you're in enough now. Just last year in the playoff, LB, you told me about, I was incredibly, I was surprised how this fan base, they were loud. It was incredible. They would chant guys' names, and it just elevated the players. Then we go to Penticton. There's a big crowd there. We just played we're at Abbotsford. We played Calgary the other night. That was packed house. So this province of BC it's Canucks. It's crazy how much they love the Canucks.
Yeah, and Toccs, you mentioned the Pacific Rim. Obi, good lobby bar there.
Great traction there. Great traction there. Great track.
Yeah, I was going to say, holy, the 6-inch. He goes, I got the whole kit there. But
great track.
Toccs, I wanted to touch on just one guy on your coaching staff, a guy that actually mentored me a little bit coming up through the ranks of the AHL, a little bit in the NHL is Adam Foote, and how big of an impact he's had on your defense. I just think his knowledge of the game, the way he sees the game, different little things and pointers he can give your guys back there. I think he's one of the smartest hockey minds, at least I have worked with. Now, you've been in the league a lot longer than I have. So I just wanted you to touch on Adam Foote and how much he means to that D-corps and just the coaching staff in general.
Yeah, he was so important to me because I coached footy when I was when I retired. I was coaching in Colorado, so I knew him there, had a relationship with him. You lose touch over the years, but when I was getting pursued by Vancouver, I was thinking to myself, do I want to take the job at the TT gig? And I'm thinking I need to bring some soldiers with me, and he wasn't an experienced guy in coaching, but he knew the game. We text each other. We called a lot. He talked about hockey. Even when I was in TNT, he would call me about, and I'd watch a game. I'd say something on TV about it. He'd call me about certain things. So we formed our relationship back. And then when I accepted the job, I said to Jim and Patrick, I really want to bring Adam Foote and Sergei Gonchar with me, your soldiers, right? And Foote's just did a hell of a job for me. He's come in here. Tyler Myers, his game is he's played excellent for us. I think Foote's really helped him. We acquired some big guys this year in free agency. Vinny DiNaria, I think we can elevate his game. Forward, other guys. So we like the big, long defensemen, and I think Foote can really help those guys. But he also helps me. As a coach, you have to build relationship with players. It's not always about X and O's, it's relationships. And he can help me that with other players too. There's always different personalities, and he can jump in and take a lion's share for me.
Yeah, Toccs, I love your whole coaching staff, how it's all guys that played, all guys that have won, and you're so great at picking, other coaches' brains, and then you talk to your assistant coach, and your communication with your players is unbelievable. And I know you're looking forward. That's how it works in the National Hockey League. But what do you think you boys learned from taking Edmonton to 7? And we all know about the injury, and Sheloff stepped up, but people didn't think you're going to beat Nashville, right? All Vancouver. And I said, boys, listen, this team's legit. And you push those boys to 7. Like, what do you think you learned from a player's perspective or a coach's perspective about, hey, boys, we took the best. They lost in the finals, but we can hang with anyone, I guess, is where I'm going with this Toccs.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of one thing of our players, and this team's really got close last year, is, and you don't want to play the what-if game, but Game 6, we didn't play that well. The first period of Game 7, we were nervous somehow, and then we started to get our game. So I think you got to understand when the pressure hits, it starts here in September. Like, you got to work on things now for those pressure moments. We had that 4-minute power play that I don't think we even got a shot on net. 0-0 hockey game. We had a couple guys that had some breakaways. There's a lot of what ifs, so we can win that game. So I think it's really about the guys understand that there's going to take another level. I mean, Edmonton's an unreal team, and you need more. So this year, every year I try to think of a say. Last year was meet pressure with pressure. This year, like for us, we have higher expectations. People are we legit, or are we just a one and done type of, so higher expectations, and we got to embrace it. It's going to be harder. We know it's going to be harder. So condition your mind. It's going to be harder. And as a group, when you condition yourself, and I hate to use the word easier because it's never easier, but you adapt to those pressure situations a lot quicker.
Yeah, Toccs, just let me tag this switch, and then you can jump in here. And listen, you've won Stanley Cups. There's adversity and injuries, and this is more of a personal question for me. Like, when you find out that Brock Boeser isn't playing, you had the Demko injury, and now Boeser gets hurt, right? When you're like, what was your message to the guys, or how did you try to spin that? Because as a guy who was pulling for you and had money on you, I was like, fuck, that's a tough blow. I wonder how Toccs is handling it. Like, how did you handle that as a coach? I'm just curious.
Yeah, the players really help. We have the old next man up mentality, but we really do. When Brock had the blood clot, and then obviously Demmer going out, and then just a couple of things that hit you at game day. It was just the players really helping, because as a coach, you go in there and you do your thing, but the players got to believe in that. And I thought they believed in that. Hey, these guys can be hurt, and they're a big part of the team. Well, we have other guys that can step up and give us some good minutes. And I think that I give the players a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
And Toccs, and especially being a part of the league for 40-odd years now as a coach, a player, a hell of a player, you need that secondary scoring come playoff time, and it's guys to step up. And one guy that you guys actually somehow found at a Nordstrom rack this summer was Daniel Sprong, and he's a hell of a player. You saw that goal last night in the preseason where he had the dipsy-do. He came around and kind of turned Tenorti inside out, then went back and forehand. So when you look at a guy like that can add minutes to your second power play, hopefully score 20-odd goals, you got to be excited for a guy that's pretty electric in that role.
Yeah, Sprong, you got to do intel on guys, right? So, I mean, listen, the poor guy, 7 coaches and 7 different teams, I think it is, bounced around. We had a big conversation this summer when he was, I think he had 2 or 3 teams he was going to sign with. And I basically asked him, I said, hey, Roger, what's the deal? 7-7? How come you don't play the last 6 minutes of a game if we're up 3-2? So I wanted those questions early. And then we just formed, I know Spranger lived from Pittsburgh, a little bit of a relationship through the phone calls. And then he decided, I think he said within 40 hours, he came with us. There's some boxes there that you can't overlook. He's got an elite shot. You saw the goal last night. I mean, incredible goal. We just got to fill in the blanks. There's some things that he has to know where to be in certain situations. He doesn't have to be a sulky winner, but he has to be in some spots. He has to make sure that he knows the system, but also has to have the effort. I'm not looking at him to go bananas out there. He doesn't have to kill people. He doesn't have to hit guys, but he has to get in front of people, and he's got to make sure that when you're F3, we're counting on you to be F3. You just can't win every once in a while. So, we'll work our way with that. We have a lot to work with. He's a great kid, and he's already in camp asking questions and wanting to learn. And, when you get a goal, like I think he hit the crossbar of the period before. He's got a hell of a shot. So it's, that's an elite shot he has.
Yeah, but Toccs, good for you. And like I said, 7 different coaches, 7 different teams. Like, it could have been easy for you to be like, you know what, there's something wrong with this kid if he can't stick. So,
Right.
And for me personally, I had a little bit that near the end of my career, right? You've been on, 3 different teams. It must be so good for you that at least you went out and said, hey, fella, why are you not? Like, well, what can we do to get you out there and got to know him even more and ask him those personal questions?
Yeah, I think it's important. And I learned, man, even as a younger coach, when I just retired, you can't have the attitude of this, you see the guy for a couple of games, or you don't form a relation, all of a sudden, this guy can't play. You can't have that attitude. You got to be able every day to take a moment for a player. And you just got to keep trying and keep trying. Now, you make your decision later with management, hey, we're going to move this guy or whatever. But I think it's important, and you mentioned our staff, like with the Twins and Sergei Gonchar and Yogi Soskoski, we just hired, unreal guy. I think, and with our video coaches, we try to teach every day. And you're gonna have guys not dressing. You're gonna have guys having a bad day. You're gonna have a superstar guy that's that's playing great. You have all different personalities, and it's important that they know that we got their back. And it's not about this guy just can't play. Go skate him and get him off.
Yeah,
there's got to be an educational thing about it, and I think that's why. Yeah, I think the players do trust this staff. I really do.
Yeah, and that's the difference to me between winning and losing, and having everyone, coaches, players, all bought in, everyone trusting, communication. And Toccs, listen, before I turn over to Jay Swish, we have a segment here at Missin Curfew called the Dog of the Week. And Dakota Joshua was the Dog of the Week a lot in the second half of the season, in the playoffs. A kid that I knew would flourish under you. Like, I've watched him play the last few years. I just knew once you got your hands on him, obviously going through a tough situation, but just how important is that kid to your team? And I was happy he got his contract. I can't wait for him to get back because that guy is a dog, Toccs.
Yeah, he's a dog. Love the kid. Really got really close with him. Had some hard times early the last year in the training camp, and I don't think I dressed mid-game, and we had to go through that relationship. But he trusts me, I think, and obviously I trust him. He, if he wasn't hurt last year, he probably would have scored 20 plus. He had 6 or 7 points in the playoffs. Really good penalty killer. Started putting him on the power play. Really well liked in the room. He's one of those guys too that the guys hang. He'll go out with the guys, and he's one of those guys that you got to play in those. You have different personalities. Some guys that do this, and that, and he can mix with anybody.
Yeah.
Quiet guys, the loud guys, the guys that like to have some fun, the guys that are reserved. I think he can mix with everybody. That's what I love about him. Every guy, like I challenged this year. I said, "You're a leader, man. Like you don't have a letter on your chest, but you are a leader." And I really wanted to take a piece of that this year.
And Toccs, I wanted to ask you, just kind of backing it up to your playing days and going back to playing in Pittsburgh, winning a cup there. You played for the legendary Scotty William Bowman. And a guy like that, like, what was like one thing that while you were playing and then transitioning into coaching, what was one thing you could take away from Scotty and just like how he would manage people or coaching different tactical things? Like, what's one thing you're like, oh, wow, like, I'm going to use that one day when I start coaching?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really, Scotty Bowman's he's just a legend, obviously. And coach was a little bit different than, he wasn't a big relationship guy. I mean, he did his thing. He would actually talk to your parents more than you would talk to you. Like, he loved talking to the parents more than the players. But he was a genius behind the bench. Like, he knew the match. He would outcoach the teams in the sense that he'd get the right matchups. Like, that's what I try to learn from him. He likes the pairs. You always have pairs like it. For us, we have Miller, Boeser. Now we'll have Pedersen and DeBrusk, and and Garland and Dakota Joshua. So they're paired to us. And then you kind of rotate guys in, and he did that in Pittsburgh a little bit too. And I like that. And so you get juice. So you get some other guys on other lines, and maybe they go for 4 games and they get a juice, and they kind of filter. They get somebody else in there. I took that from him, and just the way he managed the game behind the bench, and some of his practices too, like just ahead of his time. So yeah, I mean, obviously he's just a legend. I mean, I don't know how many cups he's had. He had two or three in Pittsburgh. Then he helped me tremendously.
Toccs, I mean, you were a legend when you played, but one legendary thing here is this Jofa Bucket you rocked back in the day, fella. You made that baby look good, by the way. That bucket's fucking legit, brother. Not a lot of guys could pull that baby off, eh?
Well, I think I only got five. I think they gave me $5,000 to wear, and then 92. So that's what they gave me. And but the best line some guy was chirping me, and I think it was Randy Gillen, his name, and he's with Winnipeg. And anyways, we're playing, and I don't know. I went by him, so I'll knock your head off. And he was on the bench, and he chirps and he goes, "What are you just warming that up for Maryland?" Maryland had one. Yeah. What are you just warming that? The helmet for Mariel, like they would just give it to me because I play with Mariel. So yeah, it was a good line, but it was like the soup bucket. And usually the tough guys don't wear the Jofas like that. I get it. It's usually the skilled guys. So I took a little bit of ribbing for that, and I got $5,000, but I gave it right to the trainer. I gave it to the trainers.
Yeah. And listen, if they wanted to mess around, you could back it up. So the boys, I'm sure, weren't chirping you too hard about that. But listen,
Jofa with the leather straps, man.
Yeah.
With leather straps. So they can't.
First time I ever saw the leather straps, never saw him in junior. Kip Brennan had him at training camp. I go, look at those leathers, or somebody maybe in the minors, but Kip Brennan was the first guy I think I saw with the leather straps. I'm like, well, that is
tough. Kip Brennan.
Oh, really tough. Toccs, you named Quinn Hughes captain last year, and I've watched Quinn Hughes develop over the years in Vancouver. He's obviously Norris champion right now, or won the Norris last year, but his qualities as a leader, he's done such a great job, and the way he handled himself, you saw something special in this kid. And I guess where I'm going with this is you got to be happy with the way he's handled the captaincy, because I thought he did a hell of a job his first year.
Yeah, he was really nervous in this. He thought he knew the how to be a captain in this market. And I told him, just be you. Be who you are. He's a very conscientious guy. All the players love him. He's always thinking of somebody else. He's got obviously a great family. But just be you. I didn't want him to think you wear the G and all of a sudden you had to do something different. And I think that helped him. But there are times when he knows that he's going to have to submit. There's some tough spots you might have to say uncomfortable things to your team. And you got to be able to put yourself there. Even when coming into my office, it's okay to put yourself out there for the team. And so it's not uncomfortable sometimes, and I think he's learned that. Obviously, winning the Norris last year, the hockey nerd. He changed his diet last year, start of the year, a gluten-free guy, and it made him elevate even better. He did a bunch of different little things to get better, and I got to give him a lot of credit for it. Works on his game constantly.
Yeah, and Toccs, I wanted to ask you about one of my good buddies in Brock Boeser. It was after the 22-23 season. Boeser, obviously dealt with a lot of different personal issues off the ice, but he came into the season last year, and I remember talking to him after that season where he kind of was going through, just different things in life, and a little bit it bled onto the ice. And I remember him talking to you, and he was telling me about it a little bit. You had mentioned maybe just doing some different things, changing up the way he trained, just little tweaks of going into the offseason. And it ended up being off for him. Obviously, he was a vital piece of your team in the regular season and in the playoffs. I mean, he's just such a good dude. And you got to be happy for a guy like that. But, as this year is coming into it and last year ends, it's a fresh start. And hopefully you can kind of, build off that and maybe even get that number closer to 50 because he's a hell of a player for you guys.
He's, listen, Coach, you love every player. He's one of my favorites in the sense, like, when I got here, you got to find certain relationships with a player. Went through a tough time with his dad. His dad was, as he was playing hockey, he was deteriorating, and his dad passed away, and it really hit him hard. And I think it really affected his career. And you have to, you've got to take a step. I got to understand that. So I really wanted to kind of forge a relationship. Losing a parent and not spending time with your dad because of hockey, and when he's had it's devastation. I think that he came to peace with it. Talked about how he could be a better player. He trained different. He didn't play in that league there, the River Hockey League.
The Beauty League.
Beauty League, so stop playing for that. Yeah. I think, it's a great league, don't get me wrong, but he wanted to do something different. And I just think he just kind of trusted what we were talking about. I got to tell you guys, you always have good practice players. He's one of my best practice players. He's always the first guy in the line. He's not a drill buster. He doesn't screw up drills very often. And I played him when we had the empty net, when the teams had empty net goals against us, he'd be on the ice. 5 against 6. I think he had 4 empty net goals. So I think he felt that trust in October. He did it a couple of times in October, and his confidence went like that because he was never known as a good defensive player. He was okay. He actually became a really good defensive player and scored 40 goals for us. So I'm really proud of what he's done.
Yeah, and you should be proud. Just let me Jay Swish. And you should be proud because I watched Boeser play under Greener and before with Boudreau, and like you could tell the potential was there. And obviously he's got that unbelievable release that you can't teach. But everything you're talking about, other things, Toccs, he just couldn't quite get her figured out, buddy. So for you and your coaching staff to go in there and just relay the message the right way because he got it, fella. And like Jay Swish said, he could score 50 this year. But I'm with you, Toccs. Like the way he plays away from the puck now, his wall play, you've turned him into a complete player.
And the guys will probably joke about it, but I'm a big wall play guy. That's what wins game.
Oh,
like you have to have. You can't always win every battle, but when you, especially wingers on rims, if you can win those battles consistently, you look at Edmonton, right? Anytime they're on any kind of rim, and Hyman makes a little bit of a chip play, they're gone. Like so, you gotta have that same mentality. You can win those battles along the walls, even those net front battles that he wins in front. He's a really good net front guy. He tips a lot of pucks in. Big part of the game, especially in the playoffs when there's not a lot of room out there.
For me, Toccs, I got a couple more for you, buddy. One last on personnel here. You brought in Jake DeBrusk. His old man's a beauty. I love this kid's game. He's a Boston Bruin. He was a good Boston Bruin. I think he's going to be a great Rick Tocchet Vancouver Canuck, up and down, net front. You don't have to answer this. I still think there's more physicality to his game. Time will tell playing under you. But are you excited about having him and just the straight lines and he can take it to the blue paint? And he's a Rick Tocchet type of guy, if you ask me.
Well, yeah, he scored 2 goals last night. One is a tip in front, which is good. Jake knows he got to get inside, and then obviously in the overtime, the speed he had to get the backdoor play. I mean, he was gone. So that's what excited me. I know his dad really well. He was my roommate when he was the Raging guy when I was coaching in Arizona. So he lived with me, and Big Louie said he had the big arms, big back. He used to make these big omelets late at night for us. And he was a tough guy. I played with Louis too.
Yeah, he was tough.
He was a very tough guy, but a great family.
Yeah,
they have a great family. So yeah, Jake's a big addition for us, and he's mixed in well. Nice kid, really nice kid.
That's hilarious. Late night omelets, little 4-egger boys loaded up, get the old hearty American special. The Denver omelet, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Toccs, my last question for you. I just want to back up to. I like hearing about these old school stories, and, you were a hell of a player, obviously 952 points. Obes mentioned it, over 1,100 games. But I wanted to ask you, I've heard this kind of through the grapevine, when your Pittsburgh days, and especially playing for Scotty Bowman and playing with Mario, were you guys going no bucket practice back then and like no shoulder pads? Like, can you just touch on that? Because that's so sick.
Well, there's a couple of this. I came from Philly, right? So we had the Donzies. You remember I don't know if you remember these Donzies shoulder. It was huge. It looked like RoboCop, right? So we used to wear them, and then we had to wear the buckets, and we dumped a lot of pucks in, and that we had top teams then, and we were killed. So when I went to Pittsburgh, no bucket, no shoulder pads. So I wasn't used to that. Everybody had the flow going, and warm up at that, and it was like you had Jagr, you had Ronnie Francis, Joey Mullen, who was a Hall of Famer. I mentioned Kevin Stevens, one of the best power forwards in his day that time. So it was an all-star type of team, and they like the swag. They like the, and I was used to that. Real funny quicks. When I got traded there, I was on a line with Mario. First time I had the puck, I got over center. I dumped it in, and I look over. Mario's ahead of me. He looked at me, didn't do anything. Right? I'm like, oh, okay. So I went out the next shift. I did it again. He looked at me. Went to the bench, goes, this isn't Philly. We don't dump pucks in. You got to make a play if you want to be on my line. So I had to learn quick. No bucket, don't dump pucks in, and a lot of team get-togethers. That team hung out a lot together, and obviously winning a cup was great with those guys.
Toccs, another team I love. I love your team this year, fella. And listen, I'm always pulling for you, but listen, I love your depth. I love the moves you made on the back end, getting Forbert, Darnay. You got 3 good goalies now. I guess my question is, what are the expectations? Is it just day by day there? Well, what are your expectations as the head coach? Just worry about day by day, or what are you thinking this year heading in, fella?
Yeah, I think especially in this kind of market where the expectations and people are, you can't listen to that noise. It's like, the Vancouver's coming in, they're here, they're like, we can't think that way. We just got to think better. You get better every day. Like you said, that's kind of what we do. Got to give our leaders a lot of credit. They don't talk about stuff like, hey, we got to make the playoffs, and if we got to get out of the second round, or we're going to win the cup. They don't talk that way. They just talk about day by day stuff. Actually, they like to know, hey, what are the next 5 days? Little like we kind of do short-term goals. I actually try to tell the players what we're doing. Like, all right, we have 2 games the next 5 days. The next 2 days of practice, we're going to work more on diesel coverage on Monday, and we'll probably do transition on Wednesday, day off Thursday. I think they like that, so it's more of a partnership with the players. I don't know, maybe some coaches don't like giving too far advance. I do, and I don't mind. Very rarely, when you give a team a day off, you take it back. I don't think I've ever taken a day off back. I don't care if you win 10-0 or lose 10-0. I think players respect you more if you stick to your word. But yeah, that's what I try to do and build a relationship with the guys.
Yeah, I think communication is one of the most important things as a coach, Toccs. And you since you've day one in Vancouver, you've done that. The message is getting loud and clear. I already tickled you guy on my DraftKings. I got a future in for the Canucks to win the cup, buddy. So I'll be pulling for you and for my wallet. But listen, Toccs, buddy, you've been great to me. You've been great to Missin Curfew. As an ex-Canuck, you're fucking making us proud, buddy. Keep it going, and thank you so much for taking the time during training camp, Toccs. And like I said, good luck, my man.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, big fan. You guys really have done a great job promoting hockey. You and the business of the world. It's fun to listen. You've really kind of raised the bar. Keep doing it.
Welcome back to Missin Curfew. Swish, thank you to Rick Tocchet, Toccs, absolute legend. Doing great things in Vancouver. It was fun last year to go up there and witness the second round against Edmonton. I love their team, Jay Swish. I think they're going to be right back in the mix. I think they're better. I think they're deeper. And if Demko can stay healthy, I think it's going to be a real good year come playoff time for the Vancouver Canucks, fella.
I'm the real Rocket Tocchet. Just one of those guys that's just an all-world guy, 40 years in the NHL. And you mentioned their team hopes. You mentioned if Demko can stay healthy. But what I like about them is they added more size on that back. And now they have Tyler Myers. They have Derek Forbert. They have Desharnais from Edmonton. They have Carson Soucy. So these guys, man, these guys are big trees. And as you know, at playoff time, clearing that net and just eating pucks, that is massive. So I really like their team. They can get some scoring like they did last year. This is a team to be reckoned with, man.
Yeah, and we want a fella tour up to Vancouver. So we're wishing the boys best of luck. Jay Swish, buddy, I got Pearl Jam this weekend. Friday, Sunday for me. I'm excited. What is a good-looking young lad, single man? What do you got this weekend, pal?
Where is that Pearl Jam show, by the way?
Oh, buddy, Ohana. Oh, yeah. Doheny State Beach, Ohana Fest. Break out the weed pen. Get that Yeti glass full of Crown Royal like you were talking about on Wednesday. I'm going to be just fucking even flow. Can't wait.
Holy smoke them if you got them, fella. I'm actually going up to Minneapolis. I'm going in for an official visit. I'm going to go see one of maybe a potential bullpen member. So I'm going to go get it done with a nice young filly, hanging with her, chill. It's going to be a good weekend, fella. I'm fired up.
Hey, listen, brother. I got a beautiful girl at home, McNor. I love you to death, but enjoy every second of that, baby. That single life. God, that's it. It's enjoyable, fella. So, hey, Jay Swish, I appreciate you, buddy. You always kill it here. Max Morgan, Kyle, thank you. Hall Pass Media. That was Missin Curfew. Fellas.